Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. This is going to be a quick review because Dynamite tonight was absolutely fucking abysmal. This show was absolutely terrible. AEW, I don't know what is with them. They are creatively bankrupt. Dynamite, when you watch it, the show is just lifeless, and the crowd is quiet, during the show. It's like they don't care, with what's going on, there, for the show. But, tonight on Dynamite, we had Hangman Page and Christian Cage. They end up taking on Jay White and Juice Robinson in a grudge match. Then we saw Roderick Strong versus Lance Archer in a Falls Count Anywhere match. We saw Konosuke Takeshita versus Adam Cole. We had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and she had taken on Penelope Ford. We also saw Swerve Strickland in action, where he ended up taking on Leo Rush. And the main event, we had a four-way contenders match between the House of Black and FTR. And apparently Jon Moxley was going to seize TBS, I guess, take over or whatever. But yeah, that didn't end up happening. But let's jump right into the review here. Not going to go over, move after move. But Dynamite started off with Jay White and Juice Robinson versus Hangman Page and Christian Cage in a grudge match. I thought this was decent, in my opinion. Hangman Page, Christian Cage, teaming up. You had Nick Wayne and Shayna Wayne and Kip Sabian, with them. Jay White and Juice Robinson, they, make a good team, in the Bang Bang Gang. So Page and also Jay White, they started off the match. Little preview of what we're going to see at Full Gear, between the both of them. We had them locking up. Jay White ended up managing to pull away from Hangman Page. They locked up again. We had Jay White catching Hangman Page with a side headlock takedown. Jay ended up getting a side headlock, and we had Page end up taking Jay White to the ropes. Page ended up stomping away at Jay White. Christian Cage ended up taking himself in. He ended up sending Jay White into the corner with a hammer throw. We had Jay White end up getting to his feet. He tagged in Juice Robinson. So Juice and Christian Cage locked up. Cage brought Juice Robinson into the corner, to which, of course, we all know Juice Robinson is rock hard. So we had Christian Cage laying into Juice Robinson. He sent him out of the ring. He distracted the ref as Nick Wayne ended up, taking out Juice Robinson and also Kip Sabian. Hangman Page ended up sending Juice Robinson back into the ring. We had later on Hook ended up blindsiding Nick Wayne from the crowd, which led to a brawl between the both of them, which they ended up going through the crowd. And so at the end of the match, we had Shayna Wayne end up trying to distract Juice Robinson. So Kip Sabian ended up hitting Juice Robinson with Christian Cage's contract, which led to Page end up delivering the Deadeye on Juice Robinson. So went for the cover, and there you go. Hangman Page and Christian Cage ended up winning the match. Overall, decent match it was between them. And another thing I gotta mention about tonight's show, this show felt rushed tonight. Like, the pacing of this show was absolutely abysmal, to which I'll get to. So we had Renee Paquette. She was with Mercedes Moné and Camille backstage. Camille's arm was in a sling because of what happened last week on Dynamite which I did not watch because I watched NXT, which was a very good show last week. So we had Mercedes end up telling Bridgeport to say hello to their CEO. So Renee then ended up asking Mercedes, and Camille attempted to hit Chris Statlander with a car last week. So Mercedes ended up saying to Renee that it's not her fault Camille can't drive. And she then starts running down Statlander. She ended up saying that she's going to beat Statlander at Full Gear to retain the TBS championship. And Chris Statlander was in the background. And Mercedes, didn't know that Chris Statlander was there. So as Mercedes was starting to walk away, she saw Chris Statlander approaching her. And Mercedes ended up calling for Camille to intervene. But Chris Statlander ended up driving Camille into the wall. So we had Mercedes and Chris Statlander end up brawling. And then Chris Statlander ended up driving Mercedes, Camille, and herself into a cardboard sheetrock wall, big hole that they laid into. So that was that. I mean, this feud is deader than dead, in my opinion. So then we saw Tony Schiavone. He was in the ring and he welcomed Will Ospreay after Ospreay made his return last week on Dynamite. So Tony Schiavone ended up bringing up Don Callis and what's happened to Kyle Fletcher. Ospreay ended up saying that he acknowledges that Konosuke Takeshita has the international championship at the moment. He ended up asking Tony Schiavone to step out of the ring. So Ospreay called out Kyle Fletcher. So Kyle Fletcher, he ended up making his way out. Kyle Fletcher got on the mic. He ended up saying that the Don Callis family thought he was too afraid to go out there by himself. But he's not afraid at all. So he ended up bringing up Ospreay staying at home when he called him a few weeks ago, asking what he wants to talk about. So Ospreay cut Fletcher off. He ended up saying that he knows about the Don Callis family meetings and that he isn't necessarily out here alone. So whatever he may have on him, he should bring out now. So Kyle Fletcher revealed the screwdriver, and Fletcher threw the screwdriver into the ring. Ospreay picked up the screwdriver and threw it to the outside, to which the screwdriver landed perfectly into the mat on the outside. So he ended up saying that he knows how close the two of them were. Ospreay ended up saying that Kyle acknowledges the things that he did, that Ospreay said he did, but he insists that he only did it for his own benefit. So Ospreay ended up asking Kyle Fletcher what he has done, which was not Aussie Open, not United Empire, but what Fletcher has done. So Fletcher ended up pivoting the topic to what he will do. So he challenged Ospreay to a match at Full Gear. So Ospreay ended up smirking at that. He ended up saying Fletcher wants his 5 minutes of fame. So he accepted the match after talking about being called Mr. Pay-Per-View in AEW. So Ospreay ended up talking about what Fletcher did to him after hitting a Tiger Driver on him, saying that he's going to take a piece of Fletcher from him. So Fletcher ended up turning it around by asking Ospreay what state he's going to be come Full Gear. So Brian Cage and Lance Archer end up arriving, and Ospreay ended up saying, "Oh, well, I got some friends of my own." So in came Powerhouse Will Hobbs, who made his return last week, and also Mark Davis. So this led to a brawl in and out of the ring between these 6 guys. So Archer ended up remaining at ringside. Roderick Strong's music ended up hitting, and he ended up attacking Lance Archer. So the ref called for the bell, and we got the Falls Count Anywhere match underway. And I'm like, what the fuck? We go from a segment into a match. It didn't have time to breathe. So I'm like, this is why I say the pacing of this show felt abysmal. And like they were rushing it. You know, we go from the end of the segment, and then the match gets underway right there. But this was a boring Falls Count Anywhere match. Roderick Strong, Lance Archer. Archer ended up staying on the attack on Roderick Strong. He took Strong down for a near fall that was barely visible backstage. We didn't know what was going on because it was so fucking dark in there. So then Dynamite went to commercial. So at the end of the match, we had Roderick Strong end up winning the match. He ended up going for a leaping knee strike on Archer, went for the cover. Roderick Strong ended up winning. And not once did these 2 guys fight in the ring. This was all on the outside. So, but boring match it was. Post-match, Roderick Strong entered the ring to celebrate, and he promised to finish MJF off at Full Gear. And so we saw MJF just watching on from somewhere. So Roderick Strong was blindsided by Konosuke Takeshita. So Takeshita ended up beating Strong down. Adam Cole, baby, rushed down for the save. And Konosuke Takeshita and Adam Cole went at it. And the match got underway. I'm like, was there any time to breathe here? Oh my God. What were they doing tonight? Oh, we go from the end of the match, and Konosuke Takeshita comes out and beats down on Roderick Strong, and lo and behold, Adam Cole rushes out there, and ding, 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 the bell rang, and we got the match. But Adam Cole, Konosuke Takeshita, this was alright. So Adam Cole was in control of the match. He ended up staying on Takeshita, and Cole ended up sending Konosuke Takeshita up for a Panama Sunrise in the corner, and he was then laid out by a clothesline from Takeshita. So then Dynamite went to commercial. Then when Dynamite came back from the commercial, Adam Cole was in control of the match. He delivered a neckbreaker to Konosuke Takeshita. We had the Panama Sunrise from Adam Cole was countered into a tombstone piledriver by Takeshita. And Takeshita followed it up with a lariat to Adam Cole. So Takeshita went for the cover. Adam Cole ended up kicking out. So we had Takeshita end up brawling out of the ring to take a breather. Takeshita pulled out the Dynamite diamond ring worn by MJF. So Takeshita put it on. He rolled into the ring. And he backed out to lure Adam Cole in. And then he ended up laying out Adam Cole with a right hand with the Dynamite diamond ring. Adam Cole was passed out. Takeshita ended up going back into the ring. He went for the cover on Cole. And there you go. Konosuke Takeshita ended up winning the match. So this means that Adam Cole will not be facing MJF at Full Gear. And of course, MJF was shown laughing. He loved the results of what happened there. So Roderick Strong ended up coming out because Takeshita was beating up on Adam Cole more. Takeshita ended up going after Roderick Strong. Kyle O'Reilly showed up to run Takeshita off. And pretty much that was basically that. And then we had Renee Paquette. As Dynamite came back from the commercial, she was with Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Syndicate. So Renee was interrupted by MVP. So MVP ended up asking Lashley about ending Swerve Strickland's career. Lashley ended up saying that Swerve is dangerous to everyone else, but he will make an example of the former AEW World Champion. So that was basically that. And then we had JD Drake. JD Drake was blindsided by Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta for no reason whatsoever. So this led to Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Marina Shafir, and Jon Moxley making their way to ringside. Of course, Moxley was going to seize TBS, but unfortunately that was a failure because just Moxley gets on the mic, he ends up addressing Orange Cassidy. Moxley talked about Chuck Taylor drinking his food through a straw because Cassidy couldn't save him, and that Yuta belongs to him because of Cassidy's incompetence. So Mox ended up commanding the AEW World Champion, and the Death Riders have the power. So that brought out Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy ended up stepping out to the stage, and he was with Mark Briscoe and also Rocky Romero of the Conglomeration. So Orange Cassidy got on the mic. He ended up saying, hi. He ended up saying that he agrees with Moxley, saying he believes Moxley can do all the things he says he will because of what he holds in that briefcase. Cassidy ended up saying that it doesn't matter if they fight all over the arena because the only way to win the World Championship is by wrestling. So Cassidy ended up saying for a guy that doesn't like wrestling, he has done it more than anyone else. And he promises that he will wrestle Moxley at Full Gear. And he will beat him to take back the power when he wins the World Championship. So basically that was that. But Moxley season TBS, complete failure. So then as the Death Riders made their way through the crowd, Darby Allin was on the top of the platform. Darby Allin dropped on the Death Riders from the platform. Moxley and Marina Shafir ended up making their way out, and Claudio and Yuta were caught in the middle of everything. So Moxley and Marina Shafir, they went into the truck, and Darby Allin ended up jumping in the back of the truck. He ended up intercepting them. But Claudio ended up pulling Darby Allin away from the truck. And he ended up hitting a giant swing on Darby Allin. And then he drove Darby into the gate. So Darby was dropped to the ground as Claudio ended up getting back to the truck. And Yuta ended up managing to get in the back of the truck. And the Death Riders ended up driving away. And that was that. Overall, it was just mediocre, in my opinion, this segment. And then we had the Learning Tree. Jesus Christ. Can this show get any worse? So Tomohiro Ishii ended up beating Jericho last week. And we find out that Tomohiro Ishii has challenged Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship in 2 weeks. So Jericho invokes the name of Jay Briscoe as promising to take Ishii down to retain the title in Chicago. And Jericho is just looking back on him and Ishii's history. So Jericho accepted the challenge. So we're getting that at the Continental Classic in 2 weeks on Dynamite. And then we had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Penelope Ford. And this was just meh, in my opinion. We had Britt Baker end up winning the match. Lockjaw locked in on Penelope Ford. Britt Baker ended up winning. And then post-match, Serena Deeb stepped out onto the stage. So Serena Deeb was seemingly challenging Britt Baker. So that was that. And then we had Renee Paquette. She was backstage with Mina Shirakawa. Mina Shirakawa ended up promising a champagne party this Saturday on Collision. So she got interrupted by Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron ended up challenging Mina Shirakawa to a match on Collision this Saturday. And this led to a cringe-inducing, oh, see you Saturday, like that. So both Mina and Harley Cameron were shimmying. Oh, God. How awful. Awful. Next was Lio Rush versus Swerve Strickland. This, in my opinion, was the best match of the night. So I enjoy both Swerve and Lio Rush. They are both really good in the ring. So it led to Lio Rush shoving Swerve as the match got underway because Swerve had some words for Lio Rush. So we had Swerve end up sending out Lio Rush out of the ring. So Rush ended up getting back in the ring. He was quickly taken down to the canvas by Swerve. Lio then turned things around to send Swerve into the ropes. Swerve ended up taking out Lio Rush. He dived over the ropes, and Lio Rush ended up doing a backflip. Lio Rush ended up managing to get the upper hand on Swerve. He ended up taking Swerve out to the floor. So at the end of the match, we had Lio Rush end up getting caught by big pressure by Swerve Strickland. So Swerve ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Swerve ended up winning the match. Post-match, Swerve got on the mic. He ended up addressing the fact that people are coming after him since he's been back. Swerve then called out the Hurt Syndicate for a fight ahead of Full Gear. So MVP and Bobby Lashley end up coming out. We didn't see Shelton Benjamin. So MVP got on the mic. He accidentally called Bridgeport Stamford. So MVP got confused of Bridgeport calling Bridgeport Stamford. So MVP turned it around by pointing out that Bobby Lashley is ready for a fight right now. So Shelton Benjamin blindsided Swerve with a forearm. MVP and Lashley came into the ring, and we had MVP end up keeping Prince Nana in the corner. Lashley ended up dropping Swerve with a body slam, and then he locked in, full Nelson on Swerve, and pretty much, that was basically that. Lashley then ended up slamming Prince Nana into the turnbuckle, and then he headed to the back. But overall, Swerve Strickland versus Lio Rush, in my opinion, was the best match of the night. And then the stuff here with Swerve and the Hurt Syndicate, I thought was pretty decent. So then, we are from Jamie Hayter backstage. Hayter ended up addressing righting some wrongs since she returned. She ended up saying that she's after one thing, and this got interrupted by a video package from Julia Hart. It's good to see Julia Hart back on TV, and she ended up taking a call from Brody King. And Brody King, over the phone, ended up saying to Julia that it's time to come home. And this led to Julia Hart leaving to another room. We saw a silhouette was handing her a bow and arrows along with her hat. So it's signal the return. This was signal the return of Julia Hart. So was happy to see Julia Hart, there. Happy that she's coming back. Julia Hart was very well missed on AEW television. Main event. The 4-way Contenders match. Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black and Brody King, ended up taking on FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. And this was a decent main event here. And this is for, the number one contenders to face Private Party at Full Gear. And we had Brody King and Cash Wheeler end up starting it off. Brody King ended up taking Cash Wheeler to the outside and ended up crashing down to the canvas. Brody King ended up taking to Malachi Black. Malachi ended up going after Cash Wheeler. He then made a tag to Dax Harwood. We had Dax Harwood end up quickly finding a predicament as Malachi Black laid into Dax Harwood with some strikes. Malachi ended up catching Dax Harwood with a roll-up, and Harwood ended up kicking out. Cash Wheeler ended up coming in for the tag, and we had Malachi Black end up getting lured into a clothesline from Cash Wheeler, and then Dynamite went to commercial. Then when Dynamite came back from commercial, FTR ended up doing a double team onto Malachi Black, and we had Malachi Black end up making the tag to Brody King. Brody King started unloading a massive offense onto FTR. So at the end of the match, we had the Kings of the Black Throne. They ended up winning the match where we had Brody King end up delivering a sleeper hold on Harwood. Harwood was passed out, and there you go. The Kings of the Black Throne end up winning. But overall, that was how Dynamite ended. Awful show this was. Absolutely terrible. But, yeah, that was my quick review of tonight's Dynamite. Terrible show. Absolutely awful. AEW, they're just lost, in my opinion. They are so lost on their creative. And Dynamite's a lifeless show. You have the crowd that's not caring. They're in a coma, for the show. Like, they're not entertained. It's just soulless and lifeless. Tony Khan really needs to do something. But anyways, that's it for this quick review of tonight's Dynamite. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all on Friday for SmackDown.